Good morning. It is Monday here in Guam. It is Sunday if you're stateside. And you know what time it is. It's 9 o'clock in Guam. And it is Facebook live time. So you're here because I'm talking about sugar today. And I will get right to it. But before I do, I need to give my disclaimer. And again, this is just an educational type of talk. It does not it's not medical advice. It's not medical nutrition therapy that a dietitian would provide if you were doing a direct consultation with your doctor or your dietitian. So if you need those type of things, go to them. Okay, this is educational. This does not substitute that medical advice. All right. Woo! So I gotta hype myself up. I'm back in my car because I just finished a workout with my physical therapist. Julianne, you awesome. All right. Okay. With sugar, even before that, let's start with food. Food is either made up of a carbohydrate. Food is made up of either a carbohydrate, protein, or fat. When you eat these foods, it gets broken down into its chemical parts in the body. Now, when we're talking about carbohydrates, this is what people are very familiar with. That carbohydrate that you eat, it is made up of either, let me just slow down here. That carbohydrate can be a simple carbohydrate, it can be a complex carbohydrate, or it can be a sugar. I won't get into all the specifics because today we're just here about sugar. So let me get a little comfy. That's what you really need to know right now for what's happening in the body. You can use that sugar when it gets broken down in the body. It becomes glucose and it helps provide you energy for your cells. Very technical. You're not here for that. So let's talk about sugar, shall we? Where does it come from? Sugar comes from animal sources. Sugar comes from plant sources. Sugar also comes from fruit. Okay, now you've heard some of these words before, and it may be a fructose, it may be lactose, and then with plant sources, I'll get more into that. But when you think of lactose, this is milk sugar. When you hear the word fructose, that is fruit sugar. And when you hear the word just sugar, this is coming from plants. Now, all plants have a natural sugar in them, and you find these in sugar beets, you find these in sugar cane, you also find this in maple trees, and you will also find this in corn. Now, when we take that sugar, that natural sugar that's from that plant, and then you break it down, they take it to a manufacturer, what you then have is a refined sugar or refined carbohydrate. And that is very important for people to know because sugar doesn't just come out of thin air. It is actually taken from a plant, and then you create this sugar that many people are familiar with. Is sugar bad for you? I will just say no, it is not bad for you because it plays so many different roles in food. But also, I would like to mention, it's not bad for those people who have diabetes because sugar will be very, very life-saving when they have hypoglycemia or when their blood sugar dips really low. So it is not bad in that case. Foods that have natural sugar in them, we're talking fruits, we're talking vegetables. These are important foods to be eating and incorporating into your eating pattern because they provide vitamins, it provides minerals, it provides fiber. You hear all these things all the time, and it's true. I'm not making it up. You can ask Dr. Oz or whoever you want, but just know that sugar is not bad in that sense because the foods that have natural sugar in them also provide a wide variety of different benefits. Also, what can I say? When we're thinking about milk has sugar in it. It has a natural sugar in it, and it provides some of calcium for your bones, vitamin D and vitamin A. So keep that in mind when you start thinking and telling people that sugar is bad. I would like to specify that you can have natural sugar and you can have added sugar. Now that's really important to know, because added sugar, you can kind of pick that out in your when you're doing grocery shopping. When you look in the ingredients list, oftentimes when you see in the ingredients list, if it has an ending where it's OSE, fructose, glucose, those type of things, then you can at least pick them out, you can point them out. But many people do not realize that sugar also comes in the form of syrups. It also comes in the form of sugar alcohols as well. Okay, I want to do something fun. I talked about added sugar. I've talked about natural sugar. I'm just going to play a little game. I have somebody here watching. So I don't know if you want to type in there, or you can just say it out in your head wherever you are. But I'm going to be showing you a bunch of food, and we're going to talk about which food, if you think is the added sugar, or if it has a natural sugar in there. Milk. I already kind of gave you the answer. Milk has a natural sugar. How about pizza? Pizza has cheese in it. Cheese has a natural sugar in it. Now, if we're talking about the dough actually sometimes has an added sugar to it. How about a donut? The icing. This can be added sugar. Potatoes or French fries. This is a natural sugar. Corn. Natural sugar. Juice. This is kind of tricky, because you really have to look on the food, the label. What is it? Is it 100% juice? If it's 100% juice, chances are it's a natural sugar, people. If it says sugar in the ingredients, there's your answer. It's an added sugar. Croissants, added sugar. Chips, most likely look at the ingredient list, but it'll just be a natural sugar. Soda, natural sugar. Oh, just kidding. It's an added sugar. What am I talking about? Okay. Where is my cheese? Again, this is going to be a natural sugar. But look again at the label, because if it has sugar as one of the ingredients list, it's an added sugar. Now, people get so mixed up, they get so caught up in, oh my gosh, I can't eat fruits because it has sugar in it. Yes, but if it's a whole fruit, it is a natural sugar in it. Other things that are natural sugar, we are talking about plain milk, just plain milk, nothing added, no Nesquik, no Ovaltine. That will be just a natural sugar. If you're eating rice, if you're eating potatoes, plain oats, that is also just a natural sugar. Please keep that in mind, because I hear this misinformation that you've cut out sugar, but you're still eating rice, you're still eating oats, you're still eating potatoes. So to kind of shift that mindset in thinking that you completely cut out sugar, because really what you still may be eating sugar. You may have stopped eating added sugar, and if that is a goal of yours, bravo to you. Continue doing what you're doing and do what's best for you and your body. And now I've gotten into that, and I want to talk now about how added sugar plays a role in foods. If you eat kimchi, maybe not kimchi, but sugar just plays a beautiful role in food. You know me, if you follow me, I love to cook. So without sugar, you would not get a beautiful bread that helps to feed the yeast in baked goods. Without without added sugar, my apologies, you cannot get the browning on baked goods. You cannot get the caramelization in foods. Sugar gives texture. Sugar gives it gives a nice balance in flavors, especially if you are playing around with bitter foods, salty foods, acidic foods. Sugar just has that nice balance to it. Another thing I want to mention, that sugar's role in food is that it can be a preservative also. Okay, so it is really important to know that sugar plays a beautiful role in food. And I always like to talk about thinking of the positive and how this impacts things, because the media will portray sugar just being such a bad culprit in our lives. But, you know, it's important to know that it plays a role in cooking. And then if you're dealing, of course, with the natural sugar foods, it can provide so much more. Now, what do you do? We are in October, everybody. What do you do when you walk by the secretary's desk and she has a bowl full of candy? Or what are you gonna do when Halloween rolls around and there's candy from your kid's bag? It is quite difficult to feel like you can't have it. So what I will say is pay attention to 3 things. Pay attention to if you're stressed. If you're often going to sugary foods like fruit, if you're looking at cakes, cookies, and desserts, if you're having a tendency to open up the fridge and eat that ice cream because you've had a long week and you're super stressed, look at that and kind of identify it. Because if you have a tendency to eat these foods on a regular basis when you're stressed, it may be time to evaluate and see if there's any type of things that you can do to help better cope with your stress. If you are in that position and you're craving a piece of candy or those things that I mentioned with added sugars, I think it'll be okay. I am here to assure you that having that ice cream will be fine, because listening in on those cravings will be great. You might think it's a little crazy, it's a little wacky to do that, but I promise you, if you just allow yourself to have that food and move on, you'll be better for it. Because I find that people have this mentality to deprive themselves of those sweets, those added sugar type things. They go for like weeks or even just a few days, and it's still in their mind, it's still in their brain, and when they finally eat it, when they finally have that delicious piece of chocolate, what ends up happening is they've restricted so much, and then they start eating more and more of it. I talked about this one time, not having that I might as well mentality, and this what happens with people who are chronically dieting or chronically restricting themselves, because they get into this mentality that sugar is bad, there is this bad food that they can't have, so they put off eating it, and then when they finally do, it's just this really sad cycle that I don't want you to go through. Basically, bottom line is, if you want something that you feel, even if it's just like a snack size of candy, like what is a small Hershey's candy going to do to you? If you just have that one small piece of candy, you can eat it and then move on. I hope that was helpful. There's a lot of questions. I can be revisiting this topic over and over, because I think people in the media will constantly badger and put my sugary friend down. But overall, just to recap, sugar is not bad for you because it does play a role in cooking, but also foods that have natural sugar in them can provide benefits for you. Keep an eye on the foods that are natural in sugar. Keep an eye on the foods that have added sugars in them. One way you can look on the ingredients list, if it's sugar as the first or second ingredient, it may be higher in sugar. So that's something you have to keep in mind. And what else? Yeah, just let me know in the comments. If you're watching this live, let me know. There are a few people, Uncle Joel, my sister, and Jonathan Clemente. Thank you guys for watching live. If you guys are watching on replay, hit that comment button and let me know. It would be really cool to see who joined in on this video and learned something. If you learned something, if there was something you did not know before, I'd want to know. All right, you guys, take care. Bye.